Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Kathy Dawson with Royal LePage Heartland. This is my business partner, Rick Lobb, and today we have a special guest with us, Heather Devries from HD Interiors. Welcome, Heather.
Thanks for having me.
Heather's involved with some interior design at Coast. She's the lead design consultant with most of our clients.
Just to give some background, you started in sort of design working at a retail store in Goderich, and then if that sort of evolved into your own business?
Yeah, I ended up, when I had kids, then it was just easier to kind of start my own business. Well, I thought it'd be easier to start my own business.
Yeah. It's super easy when you have young kids.
Flexible hours,
Yeah.
So then I started my own business and did that for a while, and then I was approached by Hey Coop Construction to get involved in this, and I was really excited.
You did have a retail store?
No, I worked at Homescapes by Lynn.
Oh, great.
For a while there too.
Great. Oh, that's wonderful. And so how many years have you been in the business now?
15 years. And actually, it's interesting because I started
when you were
in
12.
Stratford, pretty much.
Yeah.
I started in Stratford at a interior design store there that actually mostly focused on new home builds, and then I eventually moved to Goderich, worked some retail there, and then started my own business, and now I'm kind of back to new builds again. So it's full circle.
And then, did you know? So before you started working for Coast Goderich, did you know Nick through your previous affiliations with Homescapes, or is that how you were introduced to Nick?
Actually, no. I've known Nick for probably since high school.
Oh, okay.
We've gone to the same church together, and I'm friends with his wife, and so we've just known each other for quite a while. So, yeah.
So a nice natural fit.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very new project for both of us, taking on something as large as a development and just kind of coming up with the plan. So it's just nice to work with someone that I've known and trust that way. So.
And then once the Coast project started, because you, prior to Coast, you were, you had started your own business, and you were looking for clients or actively working for clients, and then once Coast Goderich sort of, that became your focus. And then did you sort of step away from working with clients outside?
Yeah, I tried for a while to kind of keep juggling both, because I had sort of just like reached the point where I was having lots of good referrals, and I was like, oh, I just don't want to say no to any business. Like, that's a bad small business motto. But the project with Coast definitely grew and grew, and it's nice to be able to just kind of focus on one area, especially with the way things are in the building world right now. I really appreciate getting to work with the same trades and the same builder, and then we can just have some consistent
level of comfort
flow.
in
Yeah,
communication.
exactly. Like when you do work outside of something like this, you're constantly working with not just new homeowners, but new trades, new locations. Especially renovations, there's always lots of stuff that comes at you. So this is nice to be able to plan things a little more.
And would that be the biggest difference that you see from remodeling existing homes into the new home construction, or are there any other kind of differences that you see with those two types of projects?
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing when you're doing renovating. It's hard to plan everything. You come up with do lots of measuring and come with a great plan for your clients, and then it's like every time you rip out those walls, there's always something hiding back there, and it's always like readjusting your plan. And like I said, in the way the building world is right now, readjusting plans is not something that's easily done. So in the new builds, then it's just a little easier to plan the project all the way through.
Less surprises.
Especially if people bring in a designer early on in the phase, like in their planning phase of building a new house, then you can really make sure everything's going to custom fit their needs once they move in. So.
Good. What are the most challenging things that you've seen with supply chains?
Everything. Supply chains, I'd say the trickiest thing right now is that a lot of the manufacturers and places that we order from, they just don't really give ETAs. Like back when I started, it was like you would order a product, they would give you a price, you would have your ETA set, and if they didn't come through on any of that, you would be like, you didn't come through, and they'd comp you with some money, or they'd rush something, or you could make something happen for your clients. But now it's very like, we're not going to give you an ETA, and if you want, you can walk away from it. We have 15 other people waiting for the exact same thing, willing to wait for the price. So your bargaining chips are kind of gone. So it is really tricky. I know I've talked to other designers and stuff too who say it's really hard to instill that trust in your client when you're like, I'm really just kind of free falling here too. And manufacturers, you can't just hold them to the same standards that you did a long time ago.
It's fascinating to me that at the same time that we have this chaos in the supply chains and the escalation in the material cost of construction happens at the exact same time that the demand for new construction goes off the charts.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like that's just a terrible, terrible combination for people like yourself, for builders, for customers,
Yeah.
for people getting product built. It's just an unfortunate time
It's so true.
in the
It
construction
is,
industry when there is such a high level of demand for new construction.
It's so true. When I started, I can remember like in school, like one of the opening dialogues our teacher had in design school, she was like, yeah, this is like a really great industry to get into because people are generally like really excited when you show up at their front door. Like this is something new and exciting
Yeah.
happening. I was like, oh yeah, that's so fun. Like, get to
You're gonna be bringing good
yeah, I
news.
get to bring joy to people, you know?
That's
But now it's like the bearer of bad news all the time. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not coming, and I have no idea when.
Right,
And,
sorry, you can't
and
have
it costs
that.
more.
You could have had that last year, but now
Yeah,
you can't.
it's gone.
And
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you want something similar,
Or like, I know we
15%
planned this
higher.
whole thing around that, but that's not coming anymore. So we're gonna just, redo the whole idea.
Do we
so.
see any, well, let's talk about the market in general right now. We're starting to see the potential for a leveling off of the craziness that we have seen over the last few years. Are you seeing any of that in either like a leveling off of, let's say, the chaos in the supply chains or in the new construction industry?
It's tricky because with a build, it's just there's so many aspects of it. There's so many products that you're bringing in, from framing all the way to paint. So it's like as soon as one area levels out, the next area is a problem. So it's kind of just every week you're like, well, what's going to be the problem this week? We finally got that under control. So
you wouldn't say that there's one item that is the worst problem,
Yeah.
has been a bad problem right across the board, or it just keeps kind of changing?
it's often changing. Like steel is definitely something that just keeps escalating. Other products have fluctuated. Lumber, as most people know, like it's gone up and then it came down for a while and then it's gone up. So like it's one that seems to go up and down. Everything else seems to just, it's more like certain products are hit and miss that are available. So when it comes to lighting, they'll be like, yeah, everything's available. And then when you order it, they're like, oh, except for like all of that color now we can't get anymore. Like we can't get any brushed nickel anymore or something. And so we,
You continually have to adapt,
yeah.
pivot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been a nice thing about being involved in a development, is that we do kind of curate packages for people. We have a set amount of selections that people can choose from. That way we can also monitor all those selections. So like our suppliers know we offer all of this flooring, we offer all of this. Let us know if there's problems in the market coming up with it. So we've been able to be alerted by things early on and then just reselect things with
So
clients.
maybe the number of selections start to shrink a little, but
Yeah.
the consistency of your product
Yeah,
is there and is not necessarily going to be changing on you.
yeah, exactly.
So when you, in phase one of the Coast Goderich project, we had, I think, 5 different models, 5 or 6 different models. One came a little bit later, the Coastal Breeze. And then in phase 2, we've added 3 new models, the Huron, the Cove, and the Driftwood, and each of those bungalows also has a loft option. When those were, like phase 1 and 2, when the design phase was sort of underway, was that something that the part of your, I guess, your job that you enjoy, the actual like drawing phase and the design, the layout of the rooms? Because prior to Coast, you would have been involved in that when people are renovating or building new?
Yeah, I did. I did find it challenging in the sense that I'm used to working like for custom homes, so I would work with you on your home and see like what's your family's needs or your lifestyle, and like we would design your floor plan around like
Right.
that. So this, I'm trying to come up with like what would appeal to the most amount of people in a floor plan, or what's like the most common thing I've seen people wanting in houses. So it is trickier in that sense, just trying to get into everyone's head.
And then in the after phase 1, then did you take sort of some of that information that you learned in phase 1 and brought to the designs in phase 2?
Yeah, for sure. And one thing, like with phase 1, I kind of thought like we'd have more of a common market of people purchasing the house, but I was really surprised by the diversity of it, like with young families and single people and couples and some people retiring, and it's very diverse.
Mix,
so
right?
all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like we really got to think of like a lot of different people's needs and lifestyles here. So that we did take a lot of the information from phase 1 and then brought it to phase 2.
Wonderful. So phase 1, all of the homes now are either under construction or closed. What were the most common upgrades that you saw from buyers or interior finishings and selections that they had?
Definitely kitchens. Just kind of like to the ceiling height cabinets and the range hood panel
Were most
upgrades.
of them white?
I would say 50% were white, and then the rest were quite varied. That's another one of those supply chain issues. What we've noticed in a lot of companies is, say they offered 16 colors before, because with manufacturing it's getting trickier, they said we're going to just now offer 6 colors. So kind of halfway through phase 1, the colors of kitchens, we weren't able to offer as many. But I still think at the end of the day, people were really happy because of it's the 6 most popular colors, or
good.
That way. And we were able to offer different colored islands and stuff. So people were still able to bring their personal touch into it. But definitely, I wouldn't say there's anything else that was stand out as an upgrade, because it seemed like everyone had different things they were looking for. And we did work really hard to make a really good standard package for people. So I was pleasantly surprised to see how many people were just really happy with our standard options. And
that's great. And phase 1, the model home, whenever we were showing it, I'm sure you had the same kind of reaction where you show the model home and people say, oh, I want a home just like this. They love everything that you picked, all the products. And now there's discussion about the next model home for phase 2. Do you want to share any ideas or insight as to anything you're thinking of changing for phase 2?
Definitely, I want it to look different than this one. Again, when we did that model home, I worked really hard on basically taking all the knowledge I had from like the last, say, year of houses, so it was the most current information that I had done for clients just as custom homes, and kind of merge that to being that I wanted this model home to be sort of pleasing to everyone. There was nothing that was like a dramatic design thing that would make someone really hate it or anything. So I tried to keep it as like pleasing to the eye for the largest crowd, which did seem to work well. A lot of people did want all those finishes for their houses. But definitely with the next model, then we just want to show a few more different things. I also realized that people, and that's something in my job I always have dealt with, they have a really hard time visualizing what their home is going to look like. So I think that was the biggest thing with the model home, is people wanted those finishes because they could just see it really well and visualize it. So now I'm hoping to show some different style ideas that people can visualize that. And I think by now we can all visualize a white kitchen, so.
Yeah. Well, you're very creative, and you do add a lot. People really appreciate having you as part of the team. The model home, the product, and Haycoop Construction, their quality of construction kind of speaks volume.
Yeah, if you want to see Heather's handiwork, you can contact us and get a tour of the model home.
And how do you like working with Haycoop Construction?
Oh, it's great. I've known Nick for a long time, so it was nice to kind of come into this project, kind of trusting that relationship, and I knew that he had a high quality standard for his product that he puts out, so I didn't mind being a part of that team then. So it's worked really well, and yeah, with all the changes of the last year, it's really nice to just work with the same builder and the same trades. We've really streamlined our communication and figured out how we get our drawings out and get everything to the trades properly. So yeah, it's been a really good, smooth project so far.
It's
Wonderful.
interesting, the first phase at the beginning, you know, those first number of buyers that had to look at a field, they had no model home to refer to.
We were in lockdowns. I couldn't even meet them face to face.
Yep, and they had to use
Right.
your descriptions and their imaginations to try and and put together in their mind what their house was going to look like. And I mean, in the end, they've all been very happy. But talk about a leap of faith. And
yeah,
and
I spent a lot of time doing like 3D drawings for people then, and we're doing like a 3D walkthrough of their house to be like, see. But even still at that, I'm like, this is a big purchase. But yeah, they kind of took that leap of faith. But they've all seemed really happy about it.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
And now phase 2 is all at the model home.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yes, nice that things have progressed. Thank you. You are wonderful to work with and to have in the design aspect of Coast. Any further questions for Heather, or is there anything further you want to add, Heather?
Is there anything that you want to part with?
No, it's been great working with you guys. You make work a lot of fun. So that's been a bonus to get to know other trades and businesses and stuff too through this project.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for being with us. And the Coast website is coastgoderich.com. That's where you can look up the different model homes and pricing. And thanks for joining us today.